Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be doing a tier maker. Now, we've got a little series here where we're going to be going through each position. So we'll do goalkeepers, then we'll do centre backs, full backs, midfield, wingers, strikers, and we're going to be ranking them. So on a tier maker, obviously, we're not going to do every player that plays for that club because it would take ages. It would take 40 minutes. And I know that you don't care about a backup goalkeeper like Renarson or something for Arsenal. But yeah, we're going to be basically doing the top 20 goalkeepers, obviously one from each club, and we'll be ranking them, from obviously best to worst, and see if there's any controversial decisions. But yes, guys, if you're new, make sure to like and subscribe. We're on the road to 300 subs. Susan, please don't take the likes away. Again. Again. Some views have been taken down. The underrated and the overrated. 22 views now. Susan, mate, you having a laugh? Not good enough from my point of view, but we'll have to deal with it. It happens. But yes, guys, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Fearless. Before we get into the tier maker, we have got the what we're going to tier them by. So we're going to either tier them by best, quality, underrated, average, overrated, and bad. But before we get into this, guys, just don't be surprised if every Leicester player we have on here is in underrated.
In every tier maker.
Surprised.
I apologise. Blame the media, blame Sky Sports, blame Sky and that. It's not our fault. You just blame them.
If they talked about Leicester more, we would see, Cash Michael most probably just average, but because they don't get spoken about, or average, they either go down or up, not in the underrated position. But we'll get into it straight away because most people don't want me to waffle on about Leicester. The first one we got, Dubravka.
Martin Dubravka. I think he's definitely got to go in the underrated, in my opinion. Really? I think he did very well. I think he did very well last season. He was a top goalkeeper, and Galdolo isn't too bad as well for the backup as well. But Dubravka was amazing last season. He was one of the best keepers in the Prem.
I'm looking at either underrated or average.
He's definitely not quality. I don't think he's at that stage yet. I think if he didn't get that injury to his name, I think we'll definitely be talking about him in that quality tier. But I think he's more underrated than... I think he deserves a bit more credit.
50-50, yeah.
Like every time he's played for Newcastle, he has done a good job. He might have made the odd mistake or something, but all keepers do at the end of the day.
To be fair, and, what is he supposed to do? It's Newcastle. They defend all the time.
Yeah, I think a lot of keepers that are down there, they don't get the credit they deserve. When goalkeepers such as Sam Johnson, they face a lot of shots, and I think they should get a little bit more respect. For the poor defense that they have in front of them. But we'll move on to Hugo Lloris, Tottenham Hotspur. I think overrated. I think he is overrated.
That wasn't me being biased, by the way.
If you want to explain why, because you're the Arsenal fan.
He used to be a good goalkeeper, but then he's just been going down the last couple of years.
He used to be one of the best keepers in the world.
Yeah, he's still good. Would you say top 5 in the league?
No.
I think
there's too many better keepers in. I think if he can make some worldy saves. A few years ago that was when he was at his peak, but I think now he just keeps making errors, shots that maybe he should be saving, he's not. And I feel like Spurs could be looking for a better goalkeeper, but he's still a decent keeper at the end of the day. He's not that bad. So we'll move on. So Alex McCarthy. I think this just writes average all over. Average. Yeah. Like you look at him and you think average.
But then do you think average really all over who is better, Alex McCarthy or Lloris? But then he's not overrated though, but he's not bad.
Lloris is better, but we're just basing... We're not saying that... by putting McCarthy the tier above, we're not saying that he's better than him. It's just Lloris is a bit overrated. Obviously, Lloris is better. But I think McCarthy, you can't really put him in overrated because he's not even rated. And you can't put him in bad because he's not bad. So I think average is kind of written all over it here. And I think he's a good keeper. He's a solid keeper for Southampton. You can't really go... you can't really go too bad with him, but Jordan Pickford.
Well,
I don't know. It's a tough one, really.
I'm thinking average.
You can't put him in overrated because he's not. He's slated. I think
He's not
Oh,
underrated.
he made some. I think he's better than McCarthy. I think Southampton fans will be a
Yeah.
bit annoyed with that, but I think Pickford, he can pull off some worldy saves. You've seen it in that Liverpool game. Yes, he made a few mistakes, but you've seen the saves he made. He can make some saves, but there's too many mistakes. If you take away the mistakes, and he's a top goalkeeper. And 2018, obviously with England, he was absolutely phenomenal with us. One of the
Yes.
best keepers in England at that time, and he did very well at Sunderland as well. But I think average is probably the right section for us. Maybe Liverpool fans will disagree with him. Obviously, they've got a slight opinion on the English goalkeeper, but he's not that bad. It's just the mistake kind of ruined him.
Yeah, I feel like if this was if this was the 2018, he'd be in the underrated.
100%. 100%. He's one
Definitely.
of the best keepers in the league that year. But now we've got the Leeds goalkeeper Meslier here today.
Now,
And this is
he's got good potential, but
he's a
at
good
the
keeper.
moment,
He's a great
he's
keeper.
in the average, I'd say. He's not underrated, but he's not quality.
I think if there was a potential tier, then we could put him there. He's got huge potential. Don't get me wrong. And I think
Definitely. But it's just
average. He's not overrated. He's not quality. He's not underrated. I don't think Meslier is a good keeper, but I think he's probably in there with average. I think he's better than two of them. I think he's better than
both of them
in average because I think Meslier he makes some great saves and he's a good keeper.
For his age as well. Does.
For his age as well, with a Leeds defence that isn't the greatest, he does face a bit of shots, and I think sometimes he'll make the odd errors, but a lot of the time he'll make some really good saves. But what do you think of the keeper?
Well, I remember. I think I remember last season when obviously Leeds won the Championship. I think his first game was in the FA Cup versus Arsenal, where obviously they lost 1-0. Yeah, he pulled off some cracking saves that game.
Yeah.
Since then, though, I feel like he does concede a lot of goals, but that
it's not always down to him. There's a lot of shots where he can't do much.
Exactly.
It's down to defence.
And then that is Leeds' form. But when you do look at him, sometimes he does look a little bit shaky. But obviously that's his age.
I think you've got to look at that, and you've got to think his confidence. His confidence isn't going to be high when the defence in front of him, the team that's conceding a lot of goals. So I think he's one of the Leeds standout performers with players like Rafinha and Bamford. So I think he deserves a bit of credit. But I think average is probably the best section for him, at the top of average as well. But now we move on to the Arsenal goalkeeper, Bernd Leno. I put him at the top of quality, in my opinion.
Yeah, if
I say
I'm
top
not
of quality,
biased.
there's no one else in quality here. But I think quality is probably the best section for him. Obviously, he's a great keeper and he faces quite a bit of shots as well with the Arsenal defence. Not being at its best at times. But I think he's a great keeper. He makes some worldy saves as well. I think he did one against Kevin De Bruyne the last season, and I think he made a great save. And he's one of Arsenal's best players, 100%, if not the best.
Question is he? No, he's not in the German national team. I feel like he's losing out quite a bit.
Yeah, well, there's Neuer, there's Ter Stegen as well. So
exactly,
it's different.
I feel like he definitely deserves to play for a national team, 100%, because he's got the quality. Yeah. And I'm thinking, looking at all these other goalkeepers here, I know we haven't put them in there yet, but I feel like he could be maybe the bottom of the best.
Oh, I don't know.
But then
it depends.
I think if
we'll look at that at the end, because I feel like when we've got everybody in, we can sort of judge off the players. But now we move on to Aaron Ramsdale. And
I think, I like him as a goalkeeper.
Yeah, same.
But he hasn't done too well the past couple of seasons.
He's not a bad keeper, but there's no other really any tier for him, is there?
He's not overrated. He's not average.
He's not overrated because he's not even rated, to be honest. But I think, I'm sorry, Sheffield United fans, but there's no other tier for him. He's not average. I think he's been poor this season at times. There's times where he does well and he just turns into prime Neuer, but then there's times he turns into prime Pickford of 2019.
Do you think we should, instead of making that a bad tier, should we put it as a poor?
I don't know. I don't think we should change anything, but we'll move on to Areola, the Fulham goalkeeper, who's another keeper that's faced a lot of shots this season. I think he goes underrated.
Definitely.
I think,
especially for PSG as well. He was all right when he was at PSG.
He was a good goalkeeper at PSG, and I think Fulham fans was surprised when they seen the quality of the keeper. Obviously he's a young player, he's got a lot of potential, and I think he's a great shot stopper. And you've seen it in so many games this season. He's one of the best keepers in the league right now. I'd definitely say top 10. I think he's up there. He's better, but he's better than Dean Henderson right now, mainly because Dean Henderson doesn't get too many opportunities for Manchester United. But I feel like Areola, obviously with teams like Fulham, with teams like Sheffield United, with teams like Brighton and West Brom, they face a lot of shots with the defence not being at its best at all the time. I feel like he deserves a little bit of respect.
Maybe not with Fulham. I feel like with Fulham, their defence is pretty good.
He still has to make a lot of saves though. So
when
they come up against teams like Man City, when they come up against Liverpool, you're going to face a lot of shots. And Areola, he stands out as a star performer for Fulham when they come up against the big teams.
Yeah, but the next one we got now is good old Sam Johnson. His haircut,
underrated.
He just looks like he wants to have a fight with someone, doesn't he?
He's
got the trim. He's got the trim for it. Definitely underrated. I would say he's better than Dubravka.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I'd
say not right now because it's one season in the Premier League, and I think.
You think about it though, a couple of seasons ago, he was I know this is not FIFA, but he was a bronze player for Man United. Now he's in the Premier League.
One of the best keepers in the league for sure. And, when he plays against teams like Liverpool, Manchester City, he faces a bunch of shots. Salah, Mane, the amount of shots he faces, he's made the most saves in the league as well. He definitely deserves to be in the England squad ahead of Jordan Pickford. And, he's a great goalkeeper. He's not really going to get a chance at an England level with Nick Pope being how good he is and making history as England goalkeeper. I think he's a great goalkeeper. Deserves a little bit more respect because I think if he played for Manchester City, he'd probably be considered one of the best keepers in the league.
Yeah. One question I'd like to ask: where do you think he would go if they get relegated? If West Brom get off?
I think he'll certainly move. I think it's a tough one.
I've got a good thinking here. He'll go to Burnley because Burnley. They want Southgate has said if Pope is going to want to be playing as a regular goalkeeper, he needs to move.
I don't think Pope's going to leave though. Pope's not going to go.
Yeah, but if he does move, I do think that's a great replacement.
I think
Sam Johnson.
It's a tough one. I think he could go to Southampton. He could go to Everton as well. That'd be a great signing for Everton. That'd be a brilliant.
I feel like realistically, I feel like Southampton looks right, but also Everton as well.
Would be brilliant for Everton because obviously they've had Olsen, they've had Pickford who haven't been too great. I think Johnston would be perfect for Everton, 100%. But we'll move on to Robert Sanchez. This is a keeper
I never heard of him until a couple of weeks ago.
I did, to be fair, but I think he's not overrated because he's not even rated at the bottom of average, I'd say. He was absolutely fantastic before, the 90th minute Leicester game 84th minute or something like that, when Daniel Amartey got the header in and he missed the ball. And, he's absolutely fantastic until then. I think he's a great shot stopper. He's got a strong hand and he's still quite a young keeper as well. He's about 24, which is young for a goalkeeper. So he's a good keeper, but we've not seen too much from him to really judge him, with players like Johnson.
He was on loan at Forest Green.
He's always been there. He's on loan at Forest Green the other season. And I think he's been at Brighton for...
That's a big jump. League 2 to the Premier League, and
he's adjusted well. Obviously, he's still going to be learning, from the Premier League. Obviously, he's made mistakes at all, and I think that's probably the best summary of him. But let us know in the comments below if you disagree with any of our choices right now. But now we've got Edouard Mendy.
Underrated.
I think underrated. There's no other tier for him. He's not average. He's not quality. I think he's underrated.
Is he?
The amount of clean sheets. The amount of clean sheet he gets. I think he's better. Oh no, he's better than Dubravka and Johnson. I think Areola is a bit better right now.
Yeah,
Areola shows that he's not really rated too much. But Edouard Mendy, I think you put him in the overrated. You put him in your overrated team.
I got a bit of a slack for that. That's it.
Yeah, you did. You did, but. No, obviously we know it's just joking. But Edouard Mendy, he's a top keeper. He's faced, he's done brilliant. Coming from League A, to the Premier League. Obviously, for a goalkeeper, that might not be as tough as maybe as a striker or a winger or a more important position. I think. But Edouard Mendy, he's a good keeper. He's faced. A few shots as well. Obviously, the Chelsea defence, it's changing every week. It seems like Christensen, then it turns to Rudiger. For them, Frank Lampard changing managers. So I think he's a top goalkeeper. I think he's better than Johnston and Dubravka. I think he's a bit more quality, and it's just kind of shows where he plays for Chelsea and Johnston plays for West Brom, and the comparisons like that. But we move on to Gualtier. Now, this is another underrated goalkeeper, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. I thought you was going to think something like average, but
No.
obviously not here. Is he better than Johnston?
Yes, I think he's better than Dubravka as well. I
Not as
think
good as Mendy.
no. Oh, it's a difficult one. I think he's better than Mendy.
Really?
I think
Wow.
is he at the top of this tier? Because I feel like Areola's only had one season in the Premier League. Guardi's been doing it for a few years, and
That's true.
he's done it
The
consistently as
haircut.
well. The game against
Look how
Spurs.
old he is with the haircut. It looks like he's like a 6-year-old
Ben's rating
man.
the haircuts, not the actual
He's getting a
player.
grey
But
haircut.
yeah, he's getting a bit of a haircut. I think he's just dyed it blonde or anything. But yeah, he's done it for a few years, and I think I think he's better than Areola. I think the kind of debate was between Guardia and Mendy, just because Mendy plays with Chelsea. He's a bit more rated, but top goalkeeper, had an amazing game against Spurs earlier on this season. I think he did a great job against them. He had like one mistake, but I think he made up for it, the amount of saves he made. But we'll move on to Burnley goalkeeper Nick Pope. England's should be number one, and I think he
Yeah.
goes at the top, not at the top of quality. I think he goes second right now. What do you think of Nick Pope?
He's a good goalkeeper. Only downside, I heard the commentators, but then to be fair, they were saying that his distribution wasn't the best. But then to be fair, for England, he actually didn't do that bad with his distribution, and also with those 2 games he played, he didn't really have much to do. Really.
No, he hasn't, but he's
kept
played 6
clean
games
sheets.
for England and he's got 6 clean sheets. So he's done a good job. Obviously, he's against like Albania and San Marino and teams like that. But he's still got to do it. And
you've got to win.
He's
You've
a
got to win
quality
against
keeper, and he
with.
should be number one for England. I think he's fantastic for Burnley. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League, definitely in that top 10, if not even top 5. I think he's a great keeper, and he's tall as well, so that really does help. When strikers might have a shot in the top corner, he can maybe have a better chance of getting onto it to the smaller keepers. But we'll move on to the former Arsenal player, Emi Martinez.
I'm crying about this one still.
I think he's in quality. You could argue he's a bit overrated by Aston Villa fans, but I think he's definitely in quality. I don't think he's better than Nick Pope. He's not better than Nick Pope.
Nah.
Pope's been doing it for a few years now. I do think people overhype him a bit too much because he's just joined and people calling him the best keeper in the league. I don't think he really is, but he's a great keeper. As an Arsenal fan, if you want to have a few words about him.
He was very good, especially I think he started off from Brighton and then I think what games was he really good? I think it was I think the Man City one he was very good.
Yeah.
FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
He was a very good goalkeeper. Kept us in a lot of games as well.
Yeah.
And done very well for us.
Yeah, he's 100% a great keeper. I think he gets credit. I think he does get a lot of credit from like the Premier League and the fans. I think people do notice because he was a great keeper, just because of the fact that he played for Arsenal. They're a bigger club, so I think he'd get sort of watched out for a bit. Right, so the next one here is Kasper Schmeichel, the Danish goalkeeper, Leicester goalkeeper, my club I support. Best? Oh, it's an interesting one. I certainly think he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think when the likes of Ederson and Alisson, he'll move down in that best tier. But I think Schmeichel is a fantastic goalkeeper. He proved it in that Burnley game when we drew 1-1. He faced a lot of shots. He made some incredible saves. He's been doing it since 2014. And I don't want to hear Aston Villa fans in the comments below, or any Aston Villa fans saying Emi Martinez is better. Schmeichel is a level above. He's been doing it for nearly 7 years.
Yeah, half a year or 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Kasper Schmeichel, it hurts me to say this, but he is better than I know.
Yeah,
I'm not getting paid to say this, guys. By the way, I'm not getting paid to say this.
No, I'm sure this is just. I hope it's just his opinion. Kasper Schmeichel, is a fantastic goalkeeper, as I said, and I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He's been doing it for a long time. He's a captain in the side. I mean, you look at all the games, he's shouting his head off. And if you watch the live games as well, you can see the commentators. They'll go every 5 minutes saying, "I apologise if you heard some bad language," because he's always swearing out of defence. If you watch the Europa League game when we drew 3-3, you can hear Schmeichel effing and jeffing out of defence because we're performing well.
Danish friends.
Danish friends. That's brilliant. We'll put a clip in that now. Right, right. Okay. So
I thought getting that in there because I thought that'd be really good, really funny.
Oh, Danish friends.
Right. Danish. Oh, what? Will we get copyrighted?
No.
Don't think so, no. Okay, right.
So now we move on to Rui Patricio, the Wolves goalkeeper, who lately suffered an injury, which we hope is a speedy recovery.
Do we know how long out?
I'm not quite sure. I've not really looked into it, but I think he's a good goalkeeper. I think he deserves to be in the quality tier. He's better than Martinez, I'd say. I think he's in that third
Some
sort of
West Ham
section.
not West Ham, Aston Villa fans won't be too happy with that one.
Yeah,
But yeah,
obviously with
I
a
kind of
little
agree.
rivalry between Wolves and Villa.
I agree. I can kind of agree with you there. He's a good goalkeeper, Patricio. Maybe Martinez a little bit better. But then Patricio has been doing
I
it
think
for more
Patricio
years.
has been doing it since he's been doing it since 2018, and I think he's a
true.
top goalkeeper. And he does really well for Wolves. He's been consistent for a long time.
You mean?
Portugal FC, but yeah, I think he's a great goalkeeper. Deserves a little bit more respect. I think he's better than Emi Martinez. Martinez has kind of just turned on last year for Arsenal when Leno was injured, and I think Patricio deserves. I think these keepers deserve a little bit of respect when they've been doing it for quite a bit of time. And Emi Martinez comes in for like not even a year or around a year, and just gets a lot of credit. But yeah, Patricio, good goalkeeper. Hopefully it's a speedy recovery from when he gets back. We'll move on to the Brazilian goalkeeper, Alisson, who recently hasn't done too well. I think that's
if he was on recent form, he would be down there with Ramsdale.
But we're talking overall, he's got to be at the top of best, in my opinion. I think Schmeichel, he's better than Schmeichel, let's face it. I think Alisson, he's been incredible for a few years now. He did it for Roma as well, which is brilliant for him. He does it internationally as well, and I think he's a great goalkeeper. Obviously, this season, it's not been too good for him. He's had a lot of good games, but he's also had a few bad games where he's had a few good games. He's had a few mistakes, which I do thank him for in that Leicester game. But I think he's a great goalkeeper. Take away the mistakes, take away this season. I think he's still the best keeper in the world if you take away this season. But I think Ederson has kind of surpassed that. But what are your thoughts on the Brazilian goalkeeper?
Now, obviously, Brazil with the national team, that is very hard to pick. You got Alisson and Ederson.
Yeah, I think right now you've got to base it off.
You've got to pick from the best of the best. As a manager, this must be like a real bad headache, but a good one in a way, because you've got two good quality goalkeepers.
Yeah, so if one gets injured,
you could just play it.
And you've also got a keeper like Neto as well for Barcelona. So he's still got quality in that position. He's filled with choices. A bit like England with right backs. So yeah, it's a good one for Brazil. It's always good when you have competition. But we've agreed with that one. Let's go with Ederson now. Obviously, this is going to be quite a controversial one with the two Brazilian goalkeepers. Do you think he goes to the top of best or the second one?
I think top.
You think top? That's an interesting one, because I remember at the start of the season you thought Ederson was quite overrated, if I remember correctly. Yeah, you did. I think we were talking about Fantasy Premier League, and you thought he was a bit overrated. And despite he got the Golden Glove last season, looks like he'll get it this season as well. But Ederson is a great goalkeeper. Obviously, he's made a few mistakes in his time at Manchester City, like he did against Man United when McTominay scored. But he's still a great goalkeeper, and best keeper in the world right now. You can kick the longest as well, which is very impressive for goal kicks. In case like Gabriel Jesus or Sterling,
and especially
goal. So he's a good goalkeeper.
Especially goalkeepers in this day and age.
Yeah.
Because before it just used to be them saving and all that.
Yeah.
Now it's more playing out from the back, having good distribution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to be fair now. Like goalkeeper, if you just have a man or any manager, if they can just pass around the back now, it doesn't really matter doesn't matter about saves, but it's more now this pass around the back philosophy. But I do think he's the best of the best, definitely.
Yeah, definitely this season as well after Alisson's mistakes. But I think Ederson hasn't had a series of mistakes like Alisson, so I think that kind of edges towards Alisson. We'll move on to a keeper that was absolutely incredible a few years ago. It's David De Gea. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's. Oh, it's a tough one. I think he's the second best in quality, because he has been quality for a lot of years now. He's not even that far off 10 years in the Premier League for him. And, he's been a great goalkeeper. You remember when a few years ago where he used to save everything. I'm sure you remember that against Arsenal, where he made the record most saves in the Premier League. He just saved everything. He was a wall. He was absolutely fantastic. That was also when Jesse Lingard turned the Emirates to his dance floor. But we'll stop speaking about that just for Ben's sake of not breaking into tears. But I think De Gea, he has a few mistakes in him. He's not really as committed, but he's still a solid goalkeeper. What do you think of the Spanish keeper?
In his prime, he was world class. Would you say in prime he was one of the best goalkeepers in the world?
Yeah. Prime, he was up there. I think when he was in this, at that moment when he was at his prime, he was the best keeper in the world at that time.
Really? I
Yes.
don't know, Neuer.
Did you not watch him? No, Neuer. I don't think Neuer at that time really. I think Neuer at that time he was good. He was how he normally is, but I think De Gea at that time was just
to be fair, that's true.
absolutely incredible. And I'm sure Man United fans missed that side. But Fabianski is the last one.
Last one now.
He's done it at Arsenal. He's done it at Swansea. He's done it at West Ham. I think he deserves a little bit more respect.
Quality better than Pope, or
I think Pope. I think Pope this season, last season's been just that bit better. I think you might think I might be disrespecting Fabianski here, but I think Fabianski he goes under the radar a bit, and he's definitely underrated. But I think I think he deserves a bit of that quality too, and he should be up there with the keepers such as Leno and De Gea and Nick Pope and Patricio and obviously Emi Martinez. But if you want to have a few words with the former Arsenal player.
Yeah, it's one of those goalkeepers where we've just they've had good potential when they came to us, but then they haven't lived up, and then they go to somewhere else and then they absolutely smash it. Same with Serge
Gnabry.
Could say Martinez a little bit. At the end, he was all right, but then we sold him on and he's become a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fabianski, he was a decent keeper. Obviously, he's a very good keeper now. Obviously, did concede 3 goals for Arsenal, so thank you, mate. Obviously done that because you love Arsenal.
Yeah, of course. That's why I wanted it. And he also wanted Leicester to get Champions League as well, so cheers, pal.
Yeah, so must be a Leicester fan and an Arsenal fan. So
yeah, I mean we'll play in West Ham soon, so he'll probably tell an absolute masterclass. But yeah, that's just Leicester, isn't it?
So yes, guys, this is going to be the end of the video. If you're new, make sure to like and subscribe. Obviously, thank you for 200 subs. I know it's a couple of weeks now when we've hit that, but we're on the road to 300. So don't know when we could get that. Maybe next month or two. You never know.
We'll have to wait and see.
We're getting up there, so you don't know. We don't know yet. But yes, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.